People say Northampton is a shoe town, and of course it is. But there's a lot more to the craft of this town than just shoes. It's something that we walk or drive past every single day, and that's typography. Ever since I can remember, I've been obsessed with typography. Not the writing itself, but the way the text actually looks. Of course, growing up, I had no idea this was an actual job. I just knew I liked it. My whole family is from Northampton, so statistically, someone was going to work in the boot and shoe industry. My granddad was a clicker in the shoe trade in Northampton. If you don't know, a clicker is the person that cuts the leather for the top of the shoes. It's a job about precision and seeing the shape in things. Honestly, very similar to typography. Precision is key, and it's about noticing the small shapes and details. Typography isn't just about the way the words are written. It reflects human history, cultural shifts, and technological change. And this dates all the way back to when time began. Take early letter forms like hieroglyphics, for example. These aren't just pictures. They're a way of preserving identity, memory, and belief. Then came the ancient Greek alphabet, the first system to include vowels, all of a sudden bridging the gap between symbols and speech. By the 15th century, Johannes Gutenberg's movable type printing press changed the world. Instead of text being copied out by hand, it could be printed again and again. This made reading, learning, and sharing ideas possible for ordinary people. It became a way for places to speak and to say, this is who we are. Even today, typography shapes how we move through the world. You only need to look up at the UK road signs designed by Margaret Calvert and Jock Kinnear in the 1960s. We drive past them every single day without noticing, but so much time and thought went into the design of every single letter. Typography matters. But typography isn't just a design choice. Throughout history, typography has mirrored humans and culture. During the Renaissance, typography followed the pursuit of beauty and balance. During the 18th century, it was the era of John Baskerville, the Age of Enlightenment. As society moved more towards science and reason, typography followed. Baskerville created high-contrast, sharp typefaces that felt crisp and rational. Then post-war Swiss design, like the Helvetica font, embraced order, clarity, and a grid system, responding to a fractured and chaotic world. Every letter is shaped by its environment. It's a record of how people once lived, worked, and understood beauty. Typography matters. Every letter form is shaped by its environment. It tells us about a place before we've even read the words. If you saw a sign to visit Northampton written in Comic Sans, you probably wouldn't take it too seriously, because that typeface carries a sense of childlike playfulness and a lack of authority. Now imagine you saw a sign to visit Northampton written in black letter Gothic. You probably wouldn't want to go there either. It feels more like a horror show than a welcoming town. Typography matters. It shapes how we view a place, but perhaps more importantly, it tells us about that place's history. We all know Northampton has a rich shoemaking heritage. For generations, this town has made shoes all over the world. During both wars, Northampton was the hub of British military footwear production. So typography isn't just a craft, it's part of the town's core. As time has passed, factories have closed, the town has changed, and the future is unfolding. It can feel as though that history is being lost. But is it? Because if you look up, you will see evidence of what Northampton once was, and honestly, still is. Hidden all over the town are ghost signs, faded names of factories, makers, and workshops. Names that once meant something to the thousands of people who worked, lived, and built their lives here. Most of these typefaces were built in strong, sturdy type. They were bold, functional, and unapologetic. They weren't designed to be decorative or fashionable. They were designed to last. Honestly, very similar to the people that worked beneath them and the products they made. They were here to last. Unlike the signs we see today, these weren't printed. They were made by hand, carved into stone, built into brickwork, painted letter by letter. And if you look up, you can still see the brushstrokes painted onto the walls. Problem is, we're not looking up anymore. We rush past these signs every day with our heads down, scrolling, distracted, and we stop noticing them. But once we stop noticing these signs, we stop valuing them. and with it, a piece of Northampton's history disappears too. As I walk through Northampton now, I don't just see old buildings, I see layers. The modern shop fronts we all know, but then behind them, if you know where to look, the evidence of what came before. These signs tell us that Northampton is practical, hard-working, resilient. Even today, in a town that sometimes gets a bad reputation, the walls tell a different story, if you look up. But this isn't just the Northampton story. I'm now going to take you to my second home, over 4,000 miles away, to Kumi, a small town in the eastern region of Uganda. Now, I know what you're thinking, what does a town in Uganda have to do with Northampton? Honestly, everything. Having spent a lot of time in Kumi over the past few years, I've begun to understand the people and the culture. And much like Northampton, it's a community where craft is deeply embedded, especially in typography. As you walk through the streets of Kumi, you notice the shop fronts straight away. They're bold, loud, and full of personality. They're a craft. And when you look closer, you notice something. Every single one of them is hand-painted. In Kumi, the shopkeepers turn their shops into reflections of themselves, their personality, their business. Because in a town where competition is high, shops have the same products, and money is limited, how do you stand out? Well, you paint. It might be a bit chaotic and ad hoc, and there might be 6 or 7 phone numbers to one sign, but they're done by hand. They're a craft. But as you walk through Kumi, you see shop fronts that were once bold and bright, now faded and peeling. They're really hard to maintain, especially in an environment that's so hot. But they're stories of resilience and resourcefulness, of making things beautiful. Spending time in Uganda has taught me something important, that life's too short to sweat the small things. Yes, the shop fronts are chaotic. Yes, they're not perfect. Yes, they're not aesthetic, and there might be so many phone numbers you don't even know who to ring. But they're evidence, and they're stories. Nothing's too structured or rigid, because life's too short for that. Having spent a lot of time in the past few years travelling around the world, everywhere I go, I look up. Because by looking up, you can learn so much about a place's culture, the people, the community, and the future. In Bangkok, the layered shop fronts and signs can seem chaotic at first, and sure it is. They're actually a perfect reflection of the city itself. Nothing makes sense in Bangkok until you spend time there, and you realise that actually there's a rhythm, and the typography perfectly follows that. In Bali, the hand-painted signs and craft are slowly being replaced by bold, flashy branding, driven by over-tourism, even in the food. But if you drive just outside of town, the craft is still there, quietly existing. In Malaysia, a melting pot of cultures, you can see it in the typography. Asian, Middle Eastern, and European influences all coexisting in the same streets. It's all there, written above our heads, if we just look up. As you walk through town, you see the modern shop fronts that we see, but nobody's looking up anymore, and that's the problem. We rush past every day with our heads down, scrolling, distracted, and we're not paying attention to history changing around us. When we focus on AI or corporate perfection, we strip away the human messiness that makes a place what it is. If we want to protect our environments for the future, we need to protect our local heritage and the things that make us who we are. So my challenge to you today is simple. When you leave this building, avoid looking at your phone, ignore that notification, and look up. Look at the streets around you, the stories written above our heads. From it we can learn so much, but we're not doing it anymore. If you want to learn about your town or where you came from, you don't need Google or a textbook. You just need to change your perspective and look up. Thank you.